All right, it's exactly 6 p.m. Abusia 4, welcome to you all. Good evening, wherever you've tuned in from, whether you are tuning in from USA, Canada, Ghana, or UK. Yafremi Obaya Ejewa, I am an ambassador of TapTap Send. It's wonderful to be here this evening. I hope you just did not come alone. I'm hoping that you were able to invite a friend to tune in for today's special topic. Again, Yafremi Obaya Ejewa. This wonderful program is being sponsored by the #1 app in the whole universe. TapTap Send, of course, is our proud sponsor right here on TapTap Send HRETV. Again, we want to say a big welcome and thank you so much for tuning in this evening. And the topic is wonderful. It's all about marriage and relationship intimacy. I love this topic. As you all know, of late, all we've seen on social media is aware bonne, aware ntokwa, aware this, ikasem, blah, 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 etc. It's enough. Oh my goodness. I don't even understand. Maybe there's something in the water out here in the diaspora or something that's causing all these mishaps when it comes to marriage, intimacy, relationships, etc. Again, my name is Obaye. I'm tuning in right now and standing in as the host for PK Asenso. PK, wherever you are, big shout out to you. Abusia Fama joining in this evening. I want to say thank you. Kudos to you all for tuning in tonight. And I'm just hoping that you were not here alone and you were able to bring someone also to join in. Without further ado, I believe let's take a brief moment from our sponsor, a minute from our sponsor. Let's hear what our TapTap Send has to say. Let's listen to a brief advertisement from them at this time. Thank you. Stay put.
TapTap Send. Oh, everyone, my baby, you're from Calabos. The only boss. With oneness, baby, I will be everywhere I day and everywhere they go. TapTap Send got me covered. If you need to send money or transfer money from Europe, from Canada, from USA, from UK, any part in Europe, you can send it through TapTap Send. And guess what? Oceania, they will receive it right here in Ghana and many countries across Africa. So what are you waiting for? Download TapTap Send now on Google Play Store or App Store. When you download, it's so easy to use. Tell your families, tell your loved ones to download TapTap Send. Okay? But also, when I receive my money, that's how the world is chilling. Like my view, hey, you crazy.
Download TapTap Send now on Google Play and App Store. TapTap Send. It's secure, convenient, easy, and fast.
Again, we want to say thank you so much for this wonderful app. TapTap Send is our proud sponsor. If you don't know what TapTap Send is, it is a mobile money transfer app. You can use it to send money anywhere you are in the country, or I guess globally, believe it or not. But before we go further on, let's figure out what's going on with the app. I see some few new things on the app. Dr. A-Class, if you are here, what is going on? What is this fundraising app or things that we see when you go onto the app? Can you give us a little information about these charity work that TapTap Send is doing? Director A-Class, if you are available.
Daniel will step in for me, please.
Okay, Director. Thank you so much, Dr. A-Class. Okay, Dr. Daniel, I see something is cooking up on the app regarding some charitable work that we're doing on the app. Can you tell me what it's all about?
Yeah, Oba. So, TapTap has always been thinking about Ghanaians in general, right? We're trying to promote our country. We love Ghana that much. So we support everything that goes on in Ghana. So we try to compile this charity sponsorship and stuff like that. Yeah. So we put on these three charities. So for now, we having three charities on there where we have Otunfo Hilo Confanoche, which is meant to help build our Confanoche hospital because the state of the hospital wasn't that good, right? So we put it on so every Ghanaian in the diaspora could contribute. The diaspora contributes to a big amount of our nation, right? Our nation building. So we wanted to communicate it outside so everybody could just give what they can to help build our country. We also have the Gamanche Foundation, which helps, I mean, kids in the whole of Greater Accra, right? Is huge in education. And it could be you, it could be your cousin, it could be anybody. So we just put it on so people can also reach out and give the little widow's mite that they could. We are having the Fun Learn Smile Foundation too, which also help um, um, how do you call it, kids without mom and dad, right? Orphans. So anybody out there could just reach out and then donate through our app. The money doesn't really come. The money doesn't come to TapTap, right? So it goes straight to the foundation. And trust me, your $1, your $1 Canadian can make a huge change in people's life. Um, Imagine you go visit Ghana, right? And you find yourself within the center of Ghana, let's say from Ashanti region towards the northern part, because I've heard the Okonfanoche Hospital serves about more than six regions. I don't know if now there's more to it because of the addition of more regions. So it says from the center to the north, and you find yourself in that location. Anything that happens to you, you'll be rushed to the hospital. So think about this. Anything you do, you could save a life, you could be a victim. So we just put all this there so that our customers can contribute. Not only our customers, I mean everybody can contribute to the projects that is going on in Ghana. So that is why we compile those charities over there.
Very nice. That's such a great initiative. Also, okay, let's talk. I know everybody wants to hear about the rate. Why use TapTap Send? What is, what's going on with the rate, as to other apps?
Okay.
I know what it means for me. Our customer service is the top tier, but that's just me.
Yeah. So I mean everybody on here could attest to it that TapTap is just like the family album, right? You just cherish it when you open it, right? We very fast secured, no doubt about it. We give you the best rates. I mean, whatever happens, you could see we are one of the top. I mean, we are one of the best rates that you get in the apps, right? Asked anything that happens, you just reach out and then we answer you. That's why you have to use TapTap.
Thank you so much. That's why you have to use TapTap. Your rate, Mrs.
Yeah.
Ria, is number one, eh?
Yeah.
Is number one. And the most beneficial thing is that, you have access to talking to an actual customer service representative, right? So we do have many ambassadors all across the country, US and Canada, even UK. We have ambassadors that you can physically reach and talk to if you have any
Perfect.
questions or
Not
concerns.
not forgetting we actually created this platform so we engage with our customers. I mean, there are a lot of rumors that goes around. I mean, if you come here, you hear from our own people and you know what is going on. So this platform was actually created because of this.
Our customers. Yes, this platform is indeed an initiative to reach out to our customers out there. If you have any questions, especially on this show, you'll meet a lot of our ambassadors all across the USA and Canada, as well as UK. So Director, we thank you so much for the dialogue when it comes to the app. Anything new? I know there's a wallet system going on. Is still
Yeah,
active?
yeah. So recently I mean, people in Europe has experienced the wallet. So we just enrolled it in the US, and people will have the first experience using the wallet. Advantages of the wallet. One, I mean, anything can happen. Doom saw in Ghana, right? So anything can happen. So sometimes you send the money and it bounces back because maybe the wallet is full. There's technical issue back home and stuff like that. Anything can happen. The money, you have the option to just claim the money to the wallet. So you resend it again. Let's say you're having an emergency, right? Your mom is sick, any other issue, urgent, right? And then you send and then it fails. Normally what happens, I mean, it's all over. I mean, it goes across. Every app is experiencing it because it's not one thing, it's a general rule. So the bank holds your money for 3 to 5 days. I mean, when you come to Europe, some countries take it like 15 days, 10 days and stuff like that. So you are used to the 3 to 5 days. The money will come back all right, but it's so urgent that maybe you don't have any dime to send again. We give you the option to claim to wallets. So you become in a real time, you get the money back and then you send again. You either change the number and send again or whatever. So that is why we bring the wallets. Now you can transfer. So people are used to the P2P, right? So this is W2W. That is, you can wire from your wallet. So let's say Oba will just wire some amount to me, and then I can wire some to PK, who is now in Ghana, and I know he can use that for Banku and okra soup and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that is one of the aspects of the wallet. It is really a game changer. Now, we also apply the PayPal. You can now use your PayPal to send money. That is a good thing. Now
Really?
yeah. There's also an add-on where you can use Apple Pay and then the Google Pay too. That is a great thing too.
Wait, I need some clarification. What you're
Yeah,
saying is that the app is linked to your PayPal account.
perfect.
So when we talk about wallet system, so the wallet system basically, like you said, if I send money to Ghana and the person doesn't receive it or there's something wrong, their wallet
Yeah.
system is full, the money will now come back to the wallet
Okay,
in
so what happens so traditionally when you send money and it fails, two things. Either the bank release the money, I mean the bank releases the money to your account straight, or like normal it happens, they keep the money for 3 to 5 days. That is a bureaucracy across board. I mean, banks normally do that. I mean, they hold your money for some time for clarification and stuff before they release the money to you. And that TapTap has no control over the bank, so we can't tell the bank to just release the money straight away. So what we did was just bring the wallet and give you an option so that when the money fails, instead of going back to the bank, you have the option to claim it to the wallet. That means the money comes to your wallet instead of going to the bank. So in the real time, you can resend it again when it's urgent,
I
or you can
see.
withdraw back to the account, your card.
Okay. Oh, okay. And now that's it's active in the US and Canada.
Yeah, so anybody using the wallet has that option now.
Wow. That's wonderful. That's a really great news actually for the app.
Yeah, because we've had a lot of complaints. Sometimes they go back to the bank and the bank tells them the money's not with us and stuff like that. But obviously, after 3 days, they see the money, and sometimes it even take a day, 24 hours, you get the money back. Sometimes 30 minutes, you get your money back. But then banks can deceive you and tell you, no, the money is still with TapTap and stuff. And we can't do anything about it because TapTap is TapTap, the bank is bank, right? So we can't control
Right.
what the bank says. So there've been a back and forth issues, and uh, it's not comfortable for our customers. Sometimes you need to send money, go find another money and send and stuff. So we brought the wallet to just solve this issue. So you have the choice. I mean, you have 6 hours to decide to reclaim the money back to your wallet, either resend it or withdraw to your card.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Well, we thank you so much for the upgrade with TapTap Send. And always, we are so grateful that you are wonderful. You've put this show together for our customers out there. Thank you so much. So, again, this is our director, Danielle, tuning in all the way from the UK, I believe, right? He's always well traveling, cruising around the world, trying to solve tap send issues. So, Director, thank you so much. Again, we just want to resume back to our regular scheduled program. Thank you for the updates with tap send. We'll definitely,
Thank you,
once the
Oba.
show is over, I guess we will continue to talk about and have more discussions regarding tap send.
Yeah, perfect. We are
Thank you
here.
so much. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you once again, family. Again, I want to welcome you to HRE TV, TapTap Send. My name is Obaya Ejewa. I'm standing in again today as a special host or guest host for PK Asenso, who is not here with us this evening. Tonight's topic is all about marriage and relationship intimacy. We have our lovely guest of honor, Dr. Josiah Ando, who's tuning in from Ghana. I know it's about 11:15 p.m. there. So, Doctor, without further ado, we want to welcome you so much. Thank you so much for your time and your willingness to come on here to talk to our viewers about marriage, relationship, and intimacy. Welcome, Dr. Josiah.
Thank you so much, Oba. I really appreciate you having me. Thanks for hosting me tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now let's get a little bit about your background. I know the topic today is marriage and relationship intimacy. Give us a brief, kind of description about what you do, how you got into this, I guess, career.
All right. Yeah. So I am first and foremost, I describe myself as a Bible scholar. Okay. Because my PhD is in biblical studies.
Okay.
However, aside biblical studies and teaching at the university, I do counsel. I've been counseling marriages and relationships for the past 15 years or so. And so from that experience of counseling, I have gathered a lot of knowledge when it comes to issues of relationship, because most of the issues that come to me in counseling are issues that deal with relationships, marriages, and that is what it is. For that reason, some 13 years ago, I set up my counseling firm, Paraclet Love and Life Consultancy, and I consult in matters of love and life in general. So basically, that is who I am and what I do.
Wow, that's a big topic a big umbrella that you're carrying. It's wonderful. Let's just dive right into marriage and relationships and intimacy. Let's just, over the few couple of years or so, we've seen a lot of broken homes surfacing when it comes to social media. Prior to social media, not that these issues did not persist, it was there, but it wasn't, if you weren't physically there and witnessing it, you wouldn't see that there's an issue, right? So I guess my first topic is, what is causing so many, especially when it comes to abroad? Is this something that we are lacking culturally to really understand the dynamics of what a marriage is and what a relationship is? Is this something culturally that we are missing to really understand what it means to be in a relationship?
All right, thank you. So I think you rightly started by talking about what we see today and asking whether it wasn't there. The truth is that human relationships have always had issues from the very beginning. From the religious perspective, the moment there was sin, human relationships started having problems. The first time we see a brother killing his brother is a matter of human relationships. And so where we have two people, there will always be problems because the two people may not see things the same way all the time. So when it comes to marriage, relationship, these are intimate relationships. Definitely there will be problems, there will be challenges. So our forefathers were having them. We see a lot of it today because of social media. It happens, and anywhere in the world, you know that something like this has happened. It used to happen, but it was contained in the villages, and we didn't know about it. Why does it happen? The first thing is that it happens because we are humans, we are different, and once we are different, there will be conflict. But another reason for it is, you mentioned, we do not have the right education on how to deal with each other. That is it. So I am not well prepared on how to handle issues when I am having an issue with a friend, with a boyfriend, with a husband, with a wife. And so things escalate. And so that is mainly what the issue is. Most of us are selfish. We think of ourselves. We don't think of relationships. We just think of what will make us happy.
Wow, you just drew my attention to something. So is that meaning, say, like, are we're just naturally selfish human beings, or is it influenced by culture? I'm bringing the culture aspect in because nowadays, if you see on social media, there's a lifestyle of this glamorizing of polygamy, right? When it comes to the Christian side of things, people believe that it should be a man and a woman, one man, one woman. Some also say no, by nature, a man was designed to have multiple, and a woman is supposed to know their role in these relationships. So culturally, Obibeka say, yeah, no. Back in the days, baby, no. Yeah, used to have multiple wives, and they used to be okay with it. Each women, or they knew the dynamics of how to, I guess, create that village of a family. So how has that changed, and does it make it righteously or religiously correct when it comes to polygamy?
Okay, so two things.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So culture, for me, I say that culture is our response to our environment. It is not something that is in our blood. It is the way we respond to our environment. So that if I eat kenkey, it is because the environment I find myself in produces corn, and I use that corn to prepare kenkey. And that is why there's no kenkey in places where the land does not produce corn. If somebody eats fufu, it's because the land in his community or in his culture produces cassava or yam, and that is why we do what we do. So culture is basically our response to our environment. Now, the issue of polygamy or a polygamous culture, I hinted earlier that we are, because of sin, we are selfish. We want to do what will satisfy us. And so our forefathers will do what will satisfy them. The environment allowed the men, because it was a patriarchal society, the environment allowed the men to marry more than one wife. And so it is not like it is in our blood to marry more than one wife. It is because the environment allowed it. In the Bible, we have such examples where Abraham, David, and co married multiple wives. Now, where it became a religiously codified is actually where the faiths or the religious faiths actually came to mix up with a certain environment, and in our case, the European environment that had put as part of their laws monogamy. You can't marry more than one, and that is part of their law. And so these people are practicing their culture. It has mixed with their religion. They bring us the religion, and then we pick both the culture and the religion. And that is why we say Christians do not practice polygamy. It is actually European culture that has been practiced together with the religion, and the religion came down to us.
Wow.
And that is exactly what it is. Today, I would say culture is becoming such that we are mixing. We are mixing with other cultures, and monogamy seems to be what everybody wants. But because of the selfish element, I have a dark lady. I want to try a fair one too, and so I will promote polygamy, perhaps. So that is why it is happening that way.
So I guess you're saying it's because it's the cultural. So basically, there's no really right or wrong. Is that what you was? That's what I'm kind of understanding, because it's the culture or the dynamics of the environment that creates this polygamous. So if it works for them, then so be it. If there's an understanding, right?
Yeah. So there is. I wouldn't say there is neither wrong nor right. What I
Okay.
would say is that it depends on where you are standing. Now, I identify as a Christian counselor, and so I would promote the Christian moral stance, which will make it wrong for a man to have more than one. However, what I am saying about the element of culture is that it happened because the environment allowed it. And that is why it was up. It is not like it is written anywhere or it is in the blood of Africans to be polygynous.
You got me confused a bit, but because some may say it's even in the Bible, biblically, there were many, there were concubines, there were, the culture, that was the culture at the time. Even pre Adam and Eve going through the culture, then they had multiple wives, they had concubines. And in the eyes of God, I guess he accepted it as, I'm talking about the Old Testament now. So what then happened that it changed? Is it because of the environment that changed? Is it because of culture that changed? Why is polygamy accepted in some cases because if it works for them, I'm just trying to get that whole picture before we actually go deep down into what is happening now.
That's fine. So in the what we see in the Bible is a record of things that actually happened. In most of these records, there is no verdicts of God. I mean, in other words, the record is there. Abraham had a wife, he had a concubine, or concubines, as it were. David had a wife, more than one wife, had concubines. Solomon had them. And we can talk about all these people. These are records of things that actually happened as was allowed and practiced in their culture. We are not told whether God said he liked it or he said he didn't like it. So I don't want to go there at all. Now, as time went on, during the Greco-Roman era. Now, when I talk about the Greco-Roman era, I am talking about the period where we are moving into the New Testament. The Greeks became the world superpowers. After them, the Romans became the world superpowers. In Roman law, it was enshrined that everyone can have only one wife. And so, since they were the world superpowers, they imposed their law on other cultures. Of course, with the exception of the Palestinians who were living in Palestine, they could practice their polygyny. But if you were living outside of Palestine, you were bound by the Roman law to have just one wife. And that's why I said it has to do with the environment one finds himself or herself in. So the culture is being practiced. It gets to a point where we have people coming in and we have the environment kind of changing. The world superpowers at the time had a law, and that law wouldn't allow polygyny. And so people started embracing it. Now, it gets to a point where this law becomes more like a worldwide law. Anybody who was, in quotes, civilized will marry just one wife. The law then somehow allowed that you could have one wife and have a mistress. It was there that way, but you could only have one wife. And so it continues until we get to the Western Europe that began practicing this as part of their life and part of their way of doing things. Before the European Christianity came down to Africa. And so we are talking about a very long period of time, more than 2,000 or 3,000 years. I mean, if I talk about 2,000 years, I'm talking about from the time of Jesus. If I talk about more than 3,000 years, I'm talking about from the time of, David and the rest. That is the period we are talking about, that these has traveled, and it has gotten to that point where Christianity has come to embrace that as part of Christian culture, as it were. I don't know if this eases the confusion a bit.
Yes, that's good. So yeah, let's talk about marriage. When we say marriage, what does it mean by marriage?
All right,
I mean, we
so
all know what it means, but what really is marriage? What constitutes a marriage?
all right, so for me, it is a man and a woman who come together. They go by what is legally and socially acceptable, whatever they have to do. If it is a ceremony, they go through that. And between the two of them, they know that they are going into this kind of union, which is going to be on for the rest of their lives. That is marriage. And for me, that is the understanding everybody needs to get going into this institution of marriage.
So let's say young couples, they just met. They're interested in going through marriage. Where should the counseling begin, or where should it come from? Should it come from a fear, the family as a dynamic, the guy's family, the girl's family, or should we look at it like the pastors, the churches? Where should that counseling begin? And how important is it for those two who have made the decision to marry, seek counseling before actually tying the knot?
All right. So I see counseling as an intentional decision to plan marriage. So you are making an intentional decision to plan your marriage, but you are not just sitting down as the two of you planning it. You are seeking help from people who can offer that help. Before today, I mean, in the past, our parents were offering some form of counseling. Women were close to their mothers in the kitchen. And while they cook, they talk, they discuss. And the woman is telling her daughter, this is how I treat your father when X or Y happens. This is how we cook a banquet. This is how we do things. That was a form of counseling. The young men were also going through some forms of counseling one way or another. It was a form of counseling, but it wasn't very formalized. It wasn't professional. These people were not trained to offer that kind of help. And so much of the things that they did was they used their experiences to give advice. Now, counseling, on the other hand, is a professional role that somebody who is trained to give that kind of help is taking the couple through what the maze that they are likely to find themselves in marriage. And so he is helping them to make informed decisions. Now, the question is, where should we begin from? I think that we need both. Every young lady needs to pick up some lessons from her parents. Every young man needs to pick up some lessons from his parents. But when the two meet and they decide that we are going to get married, the point is, the young man was in the home of Mr. and Mrs. A. The young lady was in the home of Mr. and Mrs. B. The way things are done in these two homes are different. And so if they come together, there will be conflict. So there is the need for a professional to guide them to be able to shape their own home. Let's call it family C. I did family A and family B. They came from these. They are forming family C. If they do not get that kind of help, they are likely to impose what they brought from their respective families into family C, and there will be conflict and they may not be able to get through. And that is why there's a need for seeking professional counseling when you plan to get married.
That is so important. So now let's talk about intimacy in relationship. They've gone to the counseling, they've gone through, all these things. What's causing so many distractions and breakage, especially, I'm not sure about, in the continents, but here, it's usually finances. It's usually, there's usually lack of communication. There's usually something. What is causing these homes to be broken as compared to few years ago? People were keeping the marriage, stabilized, but now it's like boom, social media is this. The women are becoming more aggressive. The men are being more, there's just so much. What's causing all these havocs?
All right. So earlier I mentioned the fact that when two people meet, there is conflict. So that one is a fundamental one. But the other things that I will mention today, there is a lot of information out there, and information is one of the causes of the issues that we have. A lot of people have so much information. Unfortunately, much of this information is not helpful. So this is a young lady growing up, and she's surfing Facebook, and then she sees that somebody tells her story. My husband has done A, B, C. And I realized that because he did A, B, C, this happened. And so he's cheating. I mean, just as an example. Now, the person sees that, and now the person is with another young man, and that young man is doing A, B, C. All of a sudden, she's likely to conclude, oh, somebody's husband did A, B, C, and X, Y, Z happened. Therefore, since you are doing same, X, Y, Z is likely to happen. And she would fight. Even though, for all you know, what her man is doing may not be what it is. So that is about the issue of a lot of information out there. People pick up a lot of ideas, a lot of principles based on what we have out there. Another cause is education. Of course, I wouldn't say education is negative, but what education has done is that it has empowered a lot of people, especially women. Now, in the past, what the problem was that a lot of women were not empowered. If I say they were not empowered economically, they were not empowered intellectually. And so they swallowed a lot of things that their husbands did to them. Today, my daughter who has been to school will not swallow some things that my grandmother swallowed, because she is now more empowered. She is now earning, perhaps even more than her man. So she will not let you take her for granted. So that is another issue. No, these are very positive aspects of our society. Unfortunately, we are not using them well. And so they are having a toll on our relationships, and they are affecting intimacy. I know we'll come into that, but for now, for the sake of your question, your question is why it is so. I've given about 3 or 4 reasons why it is so, and basically that is it.
It saddens me quite a bit because, of course, women are in the workforce right now. Women are working, women are earning, women are making right. That's what you said about education. Our eyes are open. So, Kanina, back then when women were really not providers, they've become providers. I hate to say that we've become the men. Some women have become the men in the relationship, and these men have become relaxed. So it's breaking that dynamics of the relationship. However, is that a reason? I mean, I don't want to say I'm a feminist or anything, but I'm just saying, if I have to wear the pants in the family, if I have to go out there and work hard and pay the bills, you're almost making me want to wear the pants and order you around. And maybe that's what's causing these issues.
Well, even when you are not wearing the pants and going out there, the tendency to rule or to be in charge at home is there. It is part of us.
Yes.
I mean, nobody really wants to be the passive person to be ordered around. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody. Now, what I mentioned that now we have become more empowered. It is not like our grandmothers didn't want to be heard. It's not like they loved it to be ordered around. They were simply less empowered. And because they were less empowered, their voice was hushed. For me, the issue of paying bills, taking care of the home and doing that, it is the work of the 2 people in the marriage. Whatever the 2 of them will do to ensure that things are working in the home, it is the 2 of them. But they should be able to communicate and understand each other. That is where the issue is. So that if you are going out there to bring part of the food, and I am also going out there to bring part of the food. We bring it and then we make sure we are able to eat it and get satisfied. That is what marriage is all about. The two of us are partners working together. All right. So it shouldn't be because I am providing, therefore I should rule. Not necessarily. Even if you are providing for yourself and for your husband, or yourself and for your wife. It doesn't make you, a boss. You are still partners. And that is how I think people should see marriage. The moment we see it that way, we can properly build intimacy. Unfortunately, we see it as, okay, once I am performing this role, then I should have this advantage, the selfish part that I mentioned earlier. Once I am doing this, then this is what I should get from it, which is part of us. Naturally, yes, I want to gain, I want to get something. But you see, the point is that the more I am being selfish, the more I am reducing the core element of oneness in marriage. Because in marriage, we are supposed to be one. But I want to be me. And that is one of the problems that we have.
I guess the bottom line is respect. As Akosia Williams just said, we should all learn to respect one another and submit to one another. About the submission part, because most women feel as if, being submissive has become a word that people have sometimes they take it, the wrong way. Just because I'm submissive to my husband doesn't mean he's bossing me around. It's because I respect him enough to cater to his needs and vice versa. Correct?
All right. I like the and vice versa part. Let me say that this issue of submission is something that is mostly misinterpreted and misunderstood in churches. I've attended a lot of weddings. You hear the sermons in churches. You hear the pastors preach. The wife must be submissive. We read from Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. Wife, submit to your husband as you will to the Lord. One thing that our pastors fail to read is verse 21. The verse that comes just before verse 22 says, the two of you submit to one another out of reverence for God. So it is vice versa. The husband is being asked in verse 25 to love the wife. How is he supposed to love? As Christ loved and gave himself. That is submission right there. And so both husband and wife are supposed to respect each other. Your wife is not a subordinate. You are not a boss. The two of you are partners. The two of you are, she's actually, in Genesis chapter 2, the Bible says that the wife is a helper meet. The King James Version says, help meet for you, implying that she is actually your size or your mate. The two of you are colleagues. It is not a boss and subordinate relationship. So it is something that I think we should understand. Thank you for adding the and vice versa. I love that.
Yes. Let's go there with intimacy. When it comes to intimacy, people just allude to just sexual intimacy. But recently, there was a big controversy where a pastor stood in front of the congregation and said, if I demand sexual needs from my wife, I'm going to physically take it from her, because it's her job to satisfy me. And if she wants to go and report, it became very controversial socially on social media and all. What do you think about that when it comes to intimacy in a relationship? Just because my husband or my partner wants it, should I just automatically give it, even though physically, mentally, I'm not there?
All right. Thank you very much. So the moment we mention intimacy, like you said, a lot of people start thinking about sex. But then I think about oneness, connection. These are the words that come to my mind when I hear intimacy. Once again, I'm picking it from the Bible. The two become one flesh. So that oneness should characterize marriage, so that when God created the man and he needed to create a woman, he didn't use another soil to create a woman. He picked from him. So God basically created one person and took the one out of that one person and brought them together. So the two are one. So my wife is me. I am my wife. that understanding should be there in marriage. The two are one. If there is that understanding, then we will have that deep connection. So the term intimacy actually implies deep connection. It includes emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, intellectual intimacy, spiritual intimacy, sexual intimacy. No, all forms of, being one, being connected, they should all be there. For me, sexual intimacy, which is the highest form of intimacy, actually will come naturally if the rests are there, if we are emotionally connected. She loves me. The moment I tell you, honey, I love you, she feels that truly, 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 what I am saying, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And no question, so you don't have to force it to happen. Once there is that physical intimacy where we can hold hands, we can hug, I can slap her bum. No, these things actually create the room for sexual intimacy to come naturally. You don't need to force it. And so for me, when people reduce it to just the physical intimacy, I shudder. I feel like no, they are misapplying the rule of intimacy in marriage. We need to be one and become connected, and then the rest will follow naturally.
My sister Akosia Williams is tuned in. Akosia, this is your topic indeed. I know how much you love to talk about intimacy and relationship. A big shout out to you. We have Mr. Clifford Owusu Jemfi. He's joining in from Switzerland. So we welcome you, Mr. Daniel, Mr. Clifford Owusu Jemfi. And we have Fifi Dankwa is also tuning in. We want to welcome you all again to HRE TV, TapTap Send. And then Komodie, it's all about intimacy, marriage, relationship. Recently, there was a woman attacking her husband. Okay. What is causing some men or some relationships to kind of hide secrecy in relationships? As you know, I feel the relationship changes, right? Like you said, you have to, intimacy is not just about sexual intimacy. If I am not connecting with you, if I am not emotionally, physically, but sometimes as years go on, the physical kind of withers away, and then distractions happened, and then there be secrecy, and then it's like the breaking down of the marriage is slowly happening. Once you start seeing those things, what should we do as women or men to really bring it back together? How do we, I said, when you see it from afar, it's deteriorating, it's coming apart. How do we kind of bring it back when that connection is broken?
All right, thank you very much. So you realize I tackled the issue of intimacy from the concept of oneness.
Oneness.
Now,
yes.
so if we are one, if my wife and I, my husband and I are one, how does one person actually hide something from himself? That is practically not possible. So the moment one aspect of that one begins hiding something from the other, there is no trust. It means something is wrong. So the moment you begin having a secret, of course, there are some secrets which are, for example, other people's secrets is not for consumption of your spouse. But if it is about you, what is it about you that you yourself cannot see or cannot know? What is it about your friends or your money or your properties that you yourself cannot know? The reason I am hiding it from my partner is because I do not see my partner as being a part of me, as being me, because I can't hide anything from myself. And that is a problem. So the moment I begin seeing that there is some element of secrecy, there are differences. I mean, I can decide to be secretive and buy a present for my partner. I am only preparing a surprise for him or for her. That's not the type of secrecy we are talking about. I am talking about people building properties. I'm talking about people hiding their finances, hiding their friends from their partner. it means there's something wrong with the relationship. And the key issue here is trust. If there is no trust, then there cannot be emotional intimacy, because emotional intimacy actually involves trust, where you build trust and maintain the trust. Where there is intimacy, there should be, open communication, where I am being open, I am being honest, I'm able to tell you exactly how I feel, exactly what I want, and that is how intimacy is built. So the moment there is secrecy, then there's something fundamentally wrong. For such a marriage, I think we need to go to the root. What is wrong? Why don't I trust my partner? What has he done? What has she done that I don't trust him, or that I don't trust her? If we don't get to the root, that relationship is likely to continue deteriorating.
Are these topics almost said like in the beginning? They say the honeymoon stage. In the beginning, this inception of a marriage or relationship, the hormones are there. You're excited about this new journey. How do you keep that fire burning? And who do you go to seek that help, or to sit? Because when it's easier said than done, if you have that mutual respect and you've already had a prior conversation prior to really going into the marriage, or even in the midst of the marriage, you were able to sit with your partner and say, if we experience A, B, and C, this is how we're going to deal with it. The ones who've been married for 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, and they're not, the concept of counseling is like foreign. It's like, oh, what do you mean counseling to them? How does one help salvage, salvage this a broken marriage, when as you get older, of course, sometimes Yahoo affected, you gain a few pounds here and there. The spice is not the same. They can't, the longevity of the intimacy is not as, what it used to be. How do you rekindle these things? How do you start talking about it without your partner looking at you sideways and thinking, say, hey, or the way I'm talking topic way up, but yeah, then therefore maybe she's probably, or he's probably.
Right. All right. Thank you so much. So by the way, we earlier talked about the importance of counseling, and this is important. In fact, in most, if you're able to seek professional counseling, you are likely to have discussed some of these issues before the marriage, and so they may not come up, or they may come up. But no matter what you do at the beginning of marriage, you mentioned earlier, there are stages. In the initial stages, when the passion is high, and when you are in your blues, things are nice, beautiful. But there is a second stage where reality will set in. The stage that is called the disillusionment stage. Now, that is when you meet reality. You meet the fact that you did not marry an angel. By the way, angels don't marry. You now realize that, hey, the person can get angry. The person can get worried. No, this is reality. All right, honeymoon is over. We are out there trying to get money. We are out there trying to build life. We are out there trying to make property. The children have started coming and they are driving us crazy. So we need to do something. So honeymoon is over. Reality has set in. When reality sets in, my real character. Now, that's not to say I wasn't having my real character, but we have the tendency to pretend when we meet people for the first time. And so in the early stages of marriage, what I would have been angry about, I'll say, and then I'll let go. But as we progress in the relationship and in the marriage, I am likely to show that, no, I don't like this. And you would also show me things that you don't like. That is when conflicts start. And that is when some people decide to give up. But the moment you begin experiencing conflict, it doesn't mean you should give up. It actually means you are growing. And so you should be able to sharpen each other till you get to a point where the two of you can now contain each other, you accept each other, and then you get to the stage of completion in the marriage. That is what can happen. Now, the issue of counseling comes again. After marriage, people don't want to seek counseling. But People who seek counseling while married are not necessarily people who are experiencing problems in the marriage. You can actually seek counseling for relationship enhancement. It's like your vehicle is not spoiled, but you have decided to do periodic maintenance, to take it to the mechanic, to change the oil, to do this, to do that. We should do it to our marriages. Book time with a counselor. We are not having a problem, but we just want to enhance our relationship. You can do that. Now, because of this, meeting, let me just share a few. And the question you asked: when the honeymoon is over, when the relationship is getting old, I mean, naturally, when you eat a benquine every day, you need to change. But it doesn't.
This is the problem, oh. People
it doesn't
want
mean
to
you
taste
should
different
go.
things.
It doesn't mean you should go and eat light soup out there. No, the same on you can spice it up. How do you spice it up? Some of the ingredients that you started with at the beginning. Initially, there was jende in your abenkwai. Chichapigum. Initially, there was garlic. There was whatever, all these spices, and even some meat. Add more to it. In other words, some of the things that you used to do them again. You used to text her and tell her how beautiful she is. Do it again. You used to go on dates. Do it again. Go back to some of the ingredients. Again, you can add new ingredients that were not there in the soup. So your abenkwen, you can add kontomre, it becomes abenkonto. Now nkwen are different. Then you will enjoy, because eating the same soup every day can be monotonous and it can get boring. And so in your marriage, you can actually spice things up. How do you do it? Things that you've never done before. Ever since you got married, you've probably not even slept out. You've probably not eaten out. Fanikwa restaurant, just a few dollars, eat there, and have that time and talk. Go for a movie night. Some of these things that you've never done, do them. Sometimes even in the bedroom, we do the same thing. Some marriages every day, lie down on your back, raise your legs, and that is it. Sometimes you should bend, things like that. Just do things that you've never done before. And when you do this, it adds a spice to the marriage, and you get more intimate because what the spices are coming, and it gets nicer.
Yes, that's so true. So Franklina says, how do you manage finances in long distance marriages? How do you build the trust in long distance marriages? And this is such an honest question because, as you see, akwentuomu breaks up marriages, right? Your partner might be in Ghana, you might be here, you're trying so hard to manage the relationship. Do long distance marriages actually work? Can it work?
All right. So marriage is not made to be practiced on distance basis.
Okay.
Marriage brings two people together. It doesn't they don't practice it apart. And so, let me say this. Yes, you are out there trying to get something and bring home or something. Your partner is here in Ghana, or you are here in Ghana, your partner is out there. You are married. It is not for distance. Therefore, try as much as possible to bridge the gap. Try as much as possible to reduce the distance. Now let me get to the question. In case, fine, I've given the ideal. If my relationship is not the ideal, I am having a distance, how do I build trust? How do I build intimacy? The secret for building trust and intimacy in a distance are let me mention two things. One, transparency. Two, communication. If you are in a distance, the only thing that links the two of you is communication. So ensure that you increase and improve the communication. It's not just hello, it is saying no, it should go beyond that. Run the person through your day. This is what I am doing. I am doing this, I'm doing that. Just a text update, something like that. When you do that, when you improve the communication, it puts your partner at ease. And of course, transparency. What is going on with you? What are you doing? All right. It puts your partner at ease. I will recommend that the question was about finances. So I will recommend, for example, manin sikamu. Let the person know, okay, so this is how much I am earning, and this is how I spend it. If possible, you can even channel text messages to pass there. That's if possible. I'm not saying you should do that. So that the person will see that, oh, usikano, and baby, it is actually doing what you say it is doing. That is the only way you can build trust. Without these two elements, there will always be problem of trust in any marriage or relationship once there is a long distance.
That's tough. Long distance is very, very, very difficult. I don't even know if it's. I know you can advise whether who to fall in love with, but it's doable if, like you said, if there's transparency and there's respect, right? And you're not in the person's mind to break it in half to see what's really going on in it, unless you're really there physically. And again, a marriage will not be successful if one is living there and the other is living there. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't see how successful that would be considered a marriage, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Marriage is for being together, not for being apart.
Mm-hmm. Is there any time where it is absolutely necessary for a man in a marriage to force themselves on their partner? I want to say a man. It could be the woman.
Anybody?
Yeah.
No. It's a big no for me. I am highly against any form of violence or abuse of any sort. That is your wife. You should understand her. That is your husband. You should understand him. Now, I am making it a two-way affair. Whereas it is not right for a husband or a wife to force himself or herself on the partner, it is also not right for somebody, a husband, a wife, to unduly, unreasonably withhold sexual rights from your partner. I mean, when I say unduly, unreasonably, what I mean is that obi oho shed the pa, but genuinely this person is tired. Genuinely this person is having a headache. Genuinely this person is not in the mood. But you alone, you are not in the mood today, Monday, tomorrow, Tuesday, and your not being in the mood continues for 3 months, 4 months. That is actually unreasonable. And so what I want us to understand is that once we are partners, we should be able to understand each other. We should be able to respect each other, and we should be able to be less selfish and start thinking of the other person. So at no point in time should anybody force himself or herself on the partner.
It's difficult. Some people, when it comes to Christianity, they always say, like I said, this pastor got himself in trouble, quite a big, of a mess, by saying if he wants it, the wife has to give it, almost insinuating that we're basically just there to satisfy, the man's needs. But again, you said we were one. That was the first thing you said, right? We're one. So when it comes to Christians and the scripture, sometimes I feel as if we're a bit deceived. The woman is believed said the main purpose is to serve your husband's needs, so that he doesn't go
in the
out there
Bible.
looking.
It's nowhere in the Bible. That pastor's statement is it's unfortunate, and I condemn it in all terms. You don't force yourself on your wife. However, I believe that if men will do their work well, if let me not just say men, because there are instances where it is the woman who wants it and the man doesn't want it. It's just a matter of we being able to build the kind of intimacy we need. I've talked about the emotional intimacy. I've talked about the physical intimacy, the affection, that connection. Once it is there, you don't need to force yourself on the person. And the Bible does not make the woman to come and serve the man's purpose. No. The woman is coming to be a helper for the man, for the two of them to serve the purpose of God in their lives. They are building the purpose of God in their lives, not the man's purpose. And so if you are marrying a woman to come and serve your purposes, then you are getting it wrong. So that's not what the Bible says.
Yes.
At all. Your wife is supposed to be a partner, and the two of you are going to work together to serve the purpose of God in your lives. Exactly why God made them male and female.
Yeah, some more. I think we need to talk about marriage, and because sometimes it's almost as if you become one. You start off as one, but somewhere along the line, you start to wither away, and that's what you said. You have to spice it up. That light soup, put more spices, put more meat. Chivalry is not dead once you're married. Chivalry is never dead. Stop opening the doors for your girl. Stop pulling the chair out. It's all about communication. I have there's a couple that I know. They tell me all the time, they have a date night to spice up their relationship. Every month they have a date night. They have the kids, but they make sure grandparents, friends, or babysit, and they will make sure at the end of the month they will have a date night.
That's perfect.
It's tough. It's tough when you're working full time. It's tough when you're trying to make ends meet, when you're trying to pay the bills, keep the excitement going, and still balance that whole intimacy. It becomes tiring, but you said
life is tough.
It's tough.
Never been easy in this life. And trust me, the truth is that it becomes easier when you are having it tough and you have a happy home. It makes it easier. But when you are having it tough and you are not happy at home, it becomes tougher. And so in the midst of the tough, life, look, you need to go out there. You need to make the money. You need to pay the bills. Go out there and bring the money, but make time. And it boils down to intentionality. You need to be intentional about it. If the truth is that it will not happen automatically if you don't work it out. The couple that say they have a date night, it is intentional. It's not like they don't have time. They don't have other things to do. They have other things to do. And if they don't make the time, they will get some things to do with that time. But they actually made it an intentional decision to do that. Create a we time, just you and your partner, and talk. Even if it is 5 minutes, use it effectively, and it works.
So Franklina said, what do you advise if the other partner in the long distance refuses to join the other partner to build the future together? That's tough, Franklina.
Yeah, it is really tough. And this is a situation where the Bible asks the question, can two walk together except they agree? That is not possible. I want to go left and my wife wants to go right. Can we work together? No, we can't go together because we are going in different directions. However, if you are the one listening to me and it is your partner who is refusing, then you be the peacemaker. That is all I will say. You be the peacemaker. Like I said, ideally, the two should be together as much as possible. But sometimes you may be in the same country, but at different places. How do you do it? Try to bridge the gap. Try to be frequent. And you bet you plane tickets. If you do it a couple of times in a year, that is cool. Just to be able to make sure you spend some time together. For me, that is what I would say. But of course, eventually, the two should be able to communicate, to discuss, come to an understanding of what they want to do, and do it just for the happiness of the family. I've counseled a lot of marriages in which one partner doesn't want to go to Abrochiri, another wants to go. I've counseled such marriages. And I think that it is important that couples work together all the time because you are one.
So someone just texted me, is porn okay to watch in a relationship to spice things up as a Christian?
All right. So because the question ends with as a Christian, I would say no.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the reason I say no. If for a Christian, watching the nakedness of another person to get aroused is adultery. That's what Jesus said. Whoever watches another woman and gets aroused or lustfully has committed adultery. And so it is not right. But let me take away there as a Christian and discuss this as a professional.
Yes.
The point is this: when it comes to marital sex, or let me call it actual sex, because I don't see porn as actual sex, because these people in porn are acting. So yes, they are having actual sex, but your sex with your husband, with your wife, is actually different from the way the actors do it. Because they are acting, they are on camera, a number of camera tricks are played, and so it is not something that you should necessarily try at home. And yours is not necessarily going to be like theirs. Therefore, what porn does is this: it arouses you. That is what it does. That's the objective of porn. It is actually for entertainment purposes, to arouse you and to give you a certain fantasy about sex. But when that is done, you are now coming to meet your real partner. And so you are aroused, and you see, for example, the size of a penis that is perhaps bigger than that of your husband. Maybe because of the camera, maybe for real that person has been able to grow his, and it is like that. When you are meeting with your partner with that image in mind, you may see your partner as being inadequate. The way the lady has acted her back for because she is a professional, she's an actress, she's acting it. Your wife may not be able to act her back like that, and you will think that your wife is inadequate. And so it actually leads to much dissatisfaction of sex in marriage than it helps. And so even when we take away the fact that you shouldn't be looking at another person in the Christian perspective, I wouldn't advise a couple to base on porn to spice up their marriage. There are a lot of educative videos out there. They are educative, but they are not pornography, porn rated, and they can help you. There are a number of Christian videos and sites that can help you to do this. You can also talk to a Christian counselor if you really need help to spice up your sex life.
I don't think a lot of Christian counselors are willing to open up in depth, like,
Talk to Dr. Ando.
All right, family, you heard it from Dr. Josiah Ando. This is TapTap Send, HRETV. I am so happy that you have tuned in for this wonderful topic. We need to talk about intimacy in relationships. We need to talk about realistic things that are actually happening in our marriages, in our homes, for the betterment of our kids' future, because we need to set good example for them. Sometimes even in some churches, they don't even we may kiss the bride. Like after the reunion is over, they don't even allow kissing. They don't even allow intimacy, and not just sexual intimacy, but just even embracing, hugs, cuddling, because we are quote unquote Christians. So it's not about being a Christian right now, but we are talking about intimacy in relationship. We're talking about marriage in relationships. So at this point, we'll go ahead and take some questions from our listeners. If you have tuned in from YouTube, Facebook, or even on Zoom, kindly raise your hand, and we will definitely go ahead and open the mics for you to also chime in. Again, I am honored to be sitting here and talking to Dr. Josiah Ando, who is joining us from Ghana. We'll go to Roshan. Roshan McDonald said, amen. I agree with him. Roshan also said, right. She's right. Communication definitely helps the relationship. Nana Bonito Boss, greetings to everyone. Greetings, Nana. Franklina says, how can I get Dr. Ando's information? So producers, if you don't mind, Dr. Ando, with your permission, can we share your information to people who can?
Yes, you can share my socials, you can share whatever information. I am ready to receive anybody who has further inquiry.
Yes. The concept of counseling is very new to I don't want to say just Ghanaians, Africans, and even Black people in general. Counseling is something we see as a weakness or whatever it is. We just kind of shy away from counseling. But I see now and now, like more and more the younger generation, the young ones are now accepting and conforming to this new lifestyle of counseling. Like you said earlier, you don't go to counseling when your home is broken, right? You start immediately. Some people just go to figure out how to get the information out there or how to make their relationship better. So you don't wait till your marriage is on the verge of breaking up before you seek counseling. There are many of them, and I'm so honored to be talking to you right now because a lot of homes are hurting. They're yearning and crying for help. But Abusiafona comes in, the families come in. This one is bringing their 2 cents in, and then before you know it, you're listening to this one and that one, and your marriage is down the sink and down the drain. We don't want that to happen. Let's open up. Let's make it okay to talk about sex. Let's make it okay to talk about money. Someone is asking if it should you be saving and putting your money together, and should you have a joint separate account when it comes to marriage and relationship?
All right, thank you. So this, because we are discussing intimacy, let me call this financial intimacy. All right.
Financial intimacy.
We are talking about how you are connected financially. I started by talking about oneness. I will not stop talking about oneness.
Oneness.
So the two of you are one. In terms of finances, I would normally liken it to you, one person, having two pockets. So you have some money in your left pocket and some in your right pocket. Now, this money belongs to this one person. How do we use it? Or how does this one person use it? He can decide that he's taking both from both pockets and putting it in a bag. It is his. He can decide that he will let it continue to be in these two pockets, and they will use the one on the left for food, for water, and the one on the right maybe for rent and for school fees or whatever. It is the decision of the one person, and this one person is the two of you who are married. It is your decision. So the money, from the concept of oneness, whatever money comes from both sides belongs to the two of you. How do you want it? Do you want to put it in one account? It is your decision. Do you want to keep it in your separate accounts? It is your decision. Do you want to contribute 50-50 to the home and to things that are happening? It is your decision. I would normally say, when it comes to money, do what works for you. However, let it be something that the two of you have agreed on, and let there be transparency. And that is it. Let me repeat that. When it comes to money, there is no one rule. Do what works for you, but let it be such that you and your partner have agreed to do that, and let there be transparency in what you do. For me, that's a secret to financial intimacy in marriage.
Wow. Oneness. That's all I'm hearing. Oneness. Oneness. You look at your partner as yourself.
Yeah.
You'll start making hopefully you'll start making the right decision. Lieutenant says, what are the psychological and physical benefits of sex in a marriage/relationship? What are the psychological and physical benefits? We kind of know the physical benefits, but
so maybe the physical that we know is not even enough.
Okay.
There's a reason God gave us sex as a gift. It's a beautiful thing. And research has shown that people who are sexually satisfied work better. You are more efficient because you are sexually satisfied. The truth is that every human has that need. Even babies have the need, of course, except that theirs is not with their genitals. You see a baby will be putting the finger in the mouth every time. The excitement is in the mouth. Anything they pick, they put in their mouth. And as we grow, the excitement moves towards our genitals. So you get to that point where you have that need, that need mentally, emotionally, physically, psychologically. You have the need to have sex. You have the need to connect with somebody, especially somebody of the opposite sex. I mean, that is what it is. There is that element which comes with every individual. So once you meet that need, you are actually meeting a need of your person. And so physically, it actually relieves you. So that when people have sex, there is the release of the hormone we call oxytocin. That is, we call it the happy hormone. The release of oxytocin will give you good sleep. It will make you, it improves your mood, and it helps you to even, cure physical pain. People have headache, they have a good orgasm, and the headache is gone. That is the power that sex has for you. And of course, psychologically, you actually feel a sense of fulfillment that somebody loves you enough to give you their whole body. And you have that psychologically, because it relieves stress. It helps to cure a number of mental health issues. And so there is a lot in sex than we can just see. Generally, we look at, I am getting the sweetness of it, but it goes beyond that. It is deeper. And thank you for that question. I love the question, and I'm happy it has come up.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. I wish we could be more freer to talk about sex when it comes, because I know a lot of people are scared in a marriage to really go there with their partners and talk about sex. Lieutenant says, how much does sex influence happiness in a home?
All right, so sex can actually bring happiness in the home, and it can also bring misery in the home. Hey. Let me explain. I already talked about the oxytocin improving your mood. Once there is a release of oxytocin in your system, your mood improves, so you are happy. But then there are instances where people feel a sense of dissatisfaction in sex, especially women. There is an orgasm gap. Maybe one day we should talk about that when the children go to sleep. There is an orgasm gap where men, about 95% of men are able to reach orgasm easily, but not the women. Women, a number of women have never experienced orgasm. Those who have, it has not been through penovaginal intercourse. It is through other means. It is because a number of men release faster before their women get to orgasm. The painful part is when she is on the verge of it and the man finishes before her. It can be a frustrating experience. So it can bring misery in the home. So the point is that if we do it well, it is a beautiful thing. And so I will encourage our men and our women, let us do it well.
But that is the problem, though, Doc. That is the problem. I think a lot of men don't know how to satisfy their women. Do you understand? All they know is how to satisfy their needs, and they've reached the max and they're orgasmic. But they don't know how to make their women reach that peak, because they've never they don't know how. And that's where the question with the whole porn or education, how do you talk about these things in a marriage? Because all they know is, I lay down, my husband is on top of me, they do whatever, he comes, and then I'm good. As a woman who probably has never been intimate with nobody other than her husband, all she knows is just that. Do you understand? So then the problem comes in when women are getting together in small groups and talking about the experience and sharing information. And then Akosia is over here saying, oh, wow, I came, or I reached a max. And she's saying, what do you mean? How does that feel? What are you talking about? She's never had an orgasm. So now she's curious to talk to her husband about this, but the husband is probably saying, what do you mean? And you're messing around. Where is this coming from? That's what's happening in a lot of marriages, because women are scared to vocalize, because the man is going to accuse them of something. The man's insecurity of not being able to satisfy their wife to reach that max is causing the issue. It's about the insecurity of the man. Correct me if I'm wrong.
All right,
And if
so
you are a woman here and you understand, let me know.
Let me talk man to man, to the men.
Yes.
My dear brother, when you are ready, your woman is not ready yet. You know, we see when you enter the room and lock the door and Jack is up, you are ready, but your woman is not ready yet. And that is what many men fail to understand. Explore her body. There is a lot on the woman's body, a lot of zones from head to toe. There are some of them that are there. I mean, the breasts are there for you. Suck on the breast. I mean, do a lot of things so that it gets to that point where she gets to the point that nobody will tell you that she's ready now. When she's totally wet and ready for you. When you do it that way, she will enjoy you and you will even enjoy it better. Sex is not for selfish people. When we are having sex, we are supposed to make each other happy. So focus on making your partner happy. And so men, take your time and try as much as possible to work on the body. Know your woman. It is not all women who are sensual in all parts of the body. Know your woman, know where to touch, know how to touch, know the parts that you should, if you have to kiss for a number of minutes, if you have to, do that so that your woman would feel the essence of sex. In fact, when you do it well, you don't have to force yourself on her. She would call for it when you don't. And that is what I would tell our men. It can be an exciting experience if we do it well. And when it comes to this subject, much of the work is on the men. But let me talk to the women as well. For sexual satisfaction, there is the need for sexual communication. Let him know how you feel when he touches here. Let him know where you want him to touch. Don't be shy to tell him that, honey, I will need you to suck my left breast. I don't like the right one. I like the left one. Tell him exactly what you want and let him do it for you. So let me stop here.
Oh, okay, let's go back to Lieutenant. Lieutenant said, "This is my last question." Lieutenant, no problem. I wish we had more time, but Lieutenant is saying, what is the rate of sex addiction in relationships and what's the effect? I guess what's the effect of it, right? Of this rate of sex addiction? What's the rate of sex addiction in relationship and what's the effect? I'm not quite sure how you want to answer that.
So what I get in the question, he wants to know. Yeah. So I think he wants to know how addicted people are. I mean, I don't have the figures, but when we talk about sex addiction, we are talking about people in situations where they can't do without sex. We have people like that. She cannot go a day without sex. He cannot go a day without it. We have people like that. I may not be able to tell the rates. What are the effects? Of course, every form of addiction has negative effect. Once it is addictive, it is negative. Something that is good, but too much of it is bad. Yes. And so when sex becomes too much, it becomes bad. However, if my addiction, let's say I am such that I want it every day, and then I meet a partner who is okay having it every day, then we no longer call it addiction. We are talking about our frequency being higher than the average person. That is what it is. Once the two of us enjoy each other, we are good to go. But it becomes problematic when I want it more than my partner. I want to have it every day. My partner doesn't have the strength and then the emotional willingness to do that. So what do I do? How do I deal with it? And every form of addiction has psychological, mental, and emotional effects on you. How does it affect you? Because you want it and you are not getting it, you get distressed. It is like somebody who has to take a drug and the person is not getting the drug. The withdrawal symptoms will start setting in. And a lot of people who are in sex, who are having sex addictions, actually go into some vices So that if I'm addicted and I want it and I'm not getting it, I will resort to masturbation, I will resort to having multiple partners, and it brings a whole lot of other issues.
It's so serious. So there's a lot of men who have a sexual addiction, and it's taking a toll on a lot of marriages. And I'm not sure when divorce is ever an option from, but when your partner is constantly cheating or you can't meet his demands and sexual needs, it creates a bit. I guess we're gonna have to come back with you again on this program because there's a lot we want to talk about. But let's take some questions. Roshan said, when you are the only one sending money and husband spending it, but doesn't put in at all, this is creating a problem because I would like to build as a whole. But if you only have one, what do you do? What do you do when you're the one that's putting in the money all the time and you have a spender? You're working hard, but they're spending and they're spending. What do you do in a relationship like that? Great question, Rashawn.
Yeah, that is a very I mean, it is a situation that I don't know whether to say I know what to do, because ideally the two of you should be building together. So if I am sending money every time, I am the one doing things every time, it gets to a point I become frustrated. Because we are supposed to work together. So if it is one-sided, you get discouraged. You don't seem to be getting anything. And so I understand. I think that if I find myself in that situation, what I will do is to keep on encouraging my partner to also contribute. If it fails, then that is where I will tell you to now start working on. You divide yourself into two. You do what would help, especially if you have children. What will help children, you do that. But you also, Rebecca said, of course, you let your partner know that, see, since you are not contributing, I am doing this for myself. And this is what I am doing for the family. So that it doesn't become like you are putting everything in the family and your partner isn't doing anything.
It's tough. It's tough. Danielle O. Asante says, if our African women can clear and prepare their minds and body for the intimacy section without stressing over the financial and bills of the household, we can all have a beautiful romantic moment together. Danielle, be careful. If our African women can clear and prepare their minds and body for the intimacy section, yeah, okay, without stressing over the financial. So then meet the financial obligation. If once a financial stability is there, no woman will stress. So I beg, no woman will stress. Maud said, still waiting for Dr. Ando's contact information, please. So Dr.
I
Ando,
have put it in the chat. I have put my socials and my phone number in the chat.
Wonderful. As you see, Dr. Ando's information is in the chat. Please make sure you take advantage of this knowledge and save your relationship. Also, I just want to remind you that we do have a platform on WhatsApp group for TapTap Send or for HRETV TapTap Send. If you have questions regarding this topic that we are talking about, discussing, the link is right there in the chat room. Join our family on that platform on WhatsApp. There's two groups. There's one for his royal family that will mainly focus on topics to be discussed on this program. And the second platform is for any topics. If you want to carry this conversation onto that platform, you can do so, and we can continue the discussion on there. Of course, Doctor will be added onto that platform. If you have any questions, you want to reach out to him, you can definitely use that platform. Let's take some more questions. BK said, it is not that men don't explore. Women lately want men who last longer. That's why when Jack is up, action is all you think about, forgetting about exploring. Oh, really? Mr. BK, I beg to differ, please.
All right. So if they want you to last longer, then when Jack is up, don't go there yet. You see, the issue of lasting longer, I may spend a little bit more time here.
No problem.
The average penetration time for men to reach orgasm is 5.4 minutes. Average. Some can do less, some can do more. The average penetrative time for a woman to reach orgasm is 14 minutes. Some can do more, some can do less. So when Jack is up and you put it in, remember your time is 5.4 minutes, but she is waiting for you at junction 14. You wouldn't get there. And that is why the exploring is important.
It's important.
So that when you explore, what you do is that you are actually reducing her time. When you touch certain parts of your body, of her body, nasuechi, yokoechi, the lips, the breast, the CCA, the ekoechi, these are places, the inner thighs, the top of the area. All this, when you touch those places, you do what you have to do there. What you are actually doing is that you are reducing her 14 minutes. And so it gets to the time when you are doing this, what the body is doing is blood is going down her genitals. And so her clitoris will be filled with blood. When the orgasm comes is when the blood is going back, when the body is getting back. That is what happens. So when you are able to do this for a long time, the moment Jack, who has been up all this while, the moment Jack gets in, hits in there, she is likely to reach orgasm almost immediately. Her 14 minutes will reduce to 2 minutes or even 1 minute. And then she will say, hey, you've done it. You did only 2 minutes, but she will think you did her 14 minutes because you brought her from junction 14 to junction 2. Remember, you are going 5, and she will be able to get multiples even before it gets to your time. That is what men should do. And so don't be in a rush at all. Take your time, explore the body, enjoy the body, and I am sure you will get the best of it.
Yes. Wonderful explanation, Doc. Thank you. Patrick says, I think we're missing a key component in this discussion, sensitivity, he said. Sensitivity. Okay, we all have to be sensitive as far as what we do or how we, decide to tackle some of these issues. Sorry. And Daniel, when a woman's mind is occupied in other things, there's nothing a man would do to satisfy her sexually unless these issues are addressed. That's 100% correct. That's true. That's what you see. The doctor said something about addressing the initial issue, the problem, because you cannot bypass some of these things. You have to address the initial problem. Rexford says, at work and just smiling watching this. Well done and good presentation. Thank you so much, Rexford. So as you all know, we have Doc's information in the chat room if you need to reach him. He's easily accessible. Don't forget to join our WhatsApp family group, which the link has been shared in the messaging. So make sure you follow along. And if you want to continue with this discussion, definitely post your questions and your concerns in there. The doctor will definitely reach out to you. Again, his number and information has been shared. I am absolutely loving this topic. What happens in there's a lot of people who says, oh, I was immature when I joined, when I got married, I didn't know any better. And then they start to listen to friends and whispers, those demonic whispers around. So they create it creates their intuition. You start to wonder if perhaps there's something bigger and better out there. Should I venture out? Those curiosity, they say curiosity killed the cat, right? So how can a woman or a man not be curious? Someone would say, oh, I don't want to eat that same light soup. Like you said, spice it up. But some people want to spice it up in a whole different way. They want to go out there and explore and see what is out there. Is that even necessary? How do you advise someone who's curious and wants to know if there's something better out there?
All right. So curiosity is part of us. I mean, we want somebody joined this conversation because of the topic. The person was curious to know. It's part of us. We want to know. And once in a while, that thought will come to your mind. But what I will say, your question is, how can I not, do it? Make sure you try to be curious in your home. I talked about the light soup and all that. When you eat the same light soup, I mean, it's true. And so you spice up your light soup. You don't go to prepare a different one because and also so work on the one you have so that when you are curious to find out how a particular something feels, try to enact it at home. Try to find it to find a way to do that kind of thing in your home. And I am actually for couples trying new things in the home. Try new things. I mean, the hall is yours, the kitchen is yours, the bathhouse is yours. It's the same as the bedroom. Just try it and see so that you can also say that, oh, it feels this way and that way and that way and that way. You have the variety in your home, so you don't need to try it out there. Because if we follow that curiosity, then we will end up becoming like dogs. I mean, excuse my language, because you do it everywhere. Because if you do it with a fat one, you want to see how it feels like with a slim one. You want to see how it feels like with a fair one and all that. No, that curiosity should not be entertained at all.
I got it. I love the analogy. Franklina said, how do you deal with spouses whose only means of communicating is communicating a problem is to post on social media platforms instead of addressing it personally with you? Who the cup fit kind of post of their WhatsApp status. I guess, how do you deal with people? Every second they post it on the WhatsApp instead of really talking to you intimately about the issue.
Yeah, so he doesn't mention, she doesn't mention your name, but she posts something. For example, maybe I say something.
Yeah, it's almost like who the almost like you're insinuating something like who the cup fit, like she said, or who the cup fit kind of post. You know?
So if my partner does that, I am likely to address it personally. I'll be, oh, I saw that you posted something. This is what I think about it. That is it. You know,
don't personalize it as if he's talking to you. Just kind of
exactly. Even though that he or she may actually be talking to you. But if there's something to pick up from it, if there's some lesson to pick from it, why not? Go ahead and pick it for yourself. And if you have to address it, go ahead and open up the conversation. Somebody should start the conversation. But let's go to the roots. There is a reason the person is not talking to you, but is talking on WhatsApp. When he talks to you, when she talks to you, how do you respond? How has it been over the years when the person tries to address an issue? It may be a reason the person is thinking of, okay, let me put it on WhatsApp. If you see it, then you are likely to learn or to pick up something. But of course, it is not a good way of addressing issues because your partner can decide to ignore you. What we have to do is that if you have something to discuss, that is your husband, that is your wife. If it is a premarital relationship, that's your boyfriend, that's your girlfriend. Babe, we need to talk. And this is what I want us to talk about. Can you make time on Saturday night so that we talk? And then we arrange, we sit down, okay, this is what I think. This is how I feel about this. And I wish you will do this and that and that and that. That is how we address issues. And it is beautiful. That is maturity. Instead of putting it on your status.
Yeah. Maturity is all that is, and respect for each other. Abusiafo, if you have any more questions, I would love to hear your voice, where you're calling from. Our producers have unmute the mics. This is crunch time. It's about 7:43. By 8, we should be done with this program. We've actually gone further because the topic is so wonderful, and we will definitely be bringing Dr. Josiah Ando back onto the program so we can delve deep into that intimacy, the sex topic. No, I think you're all excited about it because oftentimes Ghanaians are a bit shy, Africans are a bit shy to talk about sex and intimacy. So having this platform to be openly, avail yourself to really talk about it is very, very important. So please open the mics up, raise your hands if you have any questions, just like our sister Dorothy just said. He said, if you are still here from the beginning and listening to us right now, that means you are really enjoying the topic. So please take your time and take a few moments to share our program tonight. Again, I am here with Dr. Josiah Ando, who is a marriage counselor. He's also a professor And of course, he is a Christian. However, his teachings is not solely because he's a Christian. He's talking about real life situationships. So don't be shy. Reach out to him. Call. People are shy. The shy ones are, they're a bit, those who are shy and listening right now. I know you are very naughty. You are naughty and you don't want to come out, but it's okay. You can hypothetically state your question and say, hey, I have somebody or I know someone. But again, this is a great topic. I love the fact that we are talking about this. And I wish those who are about to embark on marriage, union, I wish they could come across a man like you who will be willing to let them really see what the journey really is like. Because it's not all smooth. We see time and time again, people are fighting about kids who just spontaneously popped up from nowhere. Them and I walk but they didn't tell their partners, and then all of a sudden this child has come to surface, living with them like as if they are a niece or a nephew. And then later on, they find out that, wow, it is really your child. It's really difficult, in the heat of the moment when we are angry, we have to learn to bite the tongue, or we need to learn to kind of take a deep breath, walk away. But sometimes it's very hard not to express yourself emotionally. And in doing so might cause so many heartache. You might say things you don't mean to say. You might act in a way that you don't mean to act. And then later on, the problem with social media, once it's posted, once it's recorded, you can't take it back because someone is done, it's gone. They can use that to kind of bring back to reality. So Dr. Ando, we thank you so much. Let's see, I think many people have also said social media validation has been a huge relationship crisis these days. I agree, Danielle. It's so serious. It's really affecting us. Another Doug says, what if you really love and like your partner and would want to get married to her, but her body type doesn't appeal to you and the sexual incitement isn't there, but she's the one for your peaceful home and marriage. I'm being pressured to marry and I don't feel ready, although I have all the resources to settle down. Doug, thank you for your question.
Okay, so let me tackle it from the bottom. Never be pressured to get married. The person who is pressuring you is not going to live with your wife or your husband. So don't allow that pressure to push you into marriage. You go into it because you are ready to go into it. The moment we succumb to pressure, everybody who pressured you will be there. They will be there. They will support you. They can even sponsor your wedding. But after the wedding, when we are done eating the jollof and chicken, everybody goes back home. You are going to live with that man, with that woman alone. And all the pressure will die down. That is where you are going to face a reality. And so never be pressured, my dear brother. I don't know if it's a brother. Yes, Dog is a brother. Don't be pressured. You have the resources. The question is, why don't you feel ready? All right, maybe we can explore that part of the discussion. But then the issue of, I love this person and I wish that this person would be my wife because she has all the qualities that I need for a peaceful home, for a peaceful marriage. But I am not comfortable with the body type. Or whatever. I mean, I don't know what body type, but I'm not comfortable with it. Will it be okay to marry such a person? I don't want to give you a straightforward answer, but you see, we have heard it over and over that we do not marry body or beauty, we marry character. That is something that we have heard over and over. But what I would normally tell young people is that don't marry somebody that you do not find attractive. Beauty is actually in the eyes of the one looking at it. Somebody likes it slim, somebody likes it curvy. What do you like? What do you admire? If you admire the curvy type, then why don't you go for that one? However, in going for the type in terms of the physical appearance, don't let that one be your main basis for choosing the person. In other words, don't choose her because of her breast alone. Because breast, so it is not going to be there forever. It may continue to be big, all right, but it may not look like the way it has been from the beginning. What then will you do? And so you should, first of all, choose somebody that you find attractive. That is true. But that should not be the basis of your marriage. The basis of your choice should be because, one, the person attracts me physically, and the person also has character traits that conform with my principles. So I can have a peaceful home with this person, and I can be happy. I can feel proud to go out with the person. When I see the person, I am physically excited that I am with the person. So I'm addressing your question in these three ways. I talked about no pressure in marriage. I talked about not marrying out of physical beauty, but I also say don't choose somebody that you do not find attractive. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doc. Ruby says, how do you deal with intimacy in long distance relationship, especially when the man or woman is outside the country? I think we dealt with that. That's tough, Doc. How do you deal with it if you're already in it?
Yeah, so this question now is, the initial question was about finances. This one is about intimacy. Of course, and this is intimacy in general. So I will say that when you are not together, you cannot have the physical intimacy. You cannot have the sexual intimacy. Of course, I know people improvise and have sexual intimacy one way or another. Somehow, research is ongoing on that. It is not conclusive, but a lot of people are discouraging that because it somehow affects your sex life when you eventually come together. When you do sex on video, on phone, and all that, it affects your overall body response to sex. So eventually, when you get together, you may not enjoy it the way you want to. And so that is the side of that. So let us talk about emotional intimacy. Once you are away, that is the aspect of intimacy you should work on building. I talked about, when I was talking about the emotional intimacy, I talked about the aspect of you building trusts, you having deep, open, honest, empathetic communication. And then there was something that I didn't mention. So let me probably add that. Vulnerability. I call it vulnerability because it's about you sharing with your partner your feelings, your desires, your fears, your hopes. Now, this implies that even though you are not together, you are actually letting the person know you inside out. So you are expressing yourself. And that happens in communication. And that's why earlier on, when I was talking about the money, I mentioned two things. I talked about communication and I talked about transparency. If you are that open, it fosters the bond. And so even though you are not physically together, you are able to continue being in love with each other. You are in love, and you can keep that feeling going until you eventually meet physically. However, if you miss these things, you don't have them, it's likely to die off. We say out of sight is out of mind. In this case, it is actually out of mind in terms of not building the physical, the mental, the emotional intimacy. It actually kills the relationship so that even when you come to sight, when you meet, the feeling is not there. But once we're able to build it and keep it going, when we meet, you can see, say, what fino, and it is going to, there will be fireworks when you meet.
Hey, I like the fireworks. Let's get that fireworks going in everyone's relationships. Fireworks is very important. Danielle, we're going to take this last question from Danielle. He says, I'm a very successful entrepreneur. My business partners appreciate and benefit from my work, but my girlfriend has never appreciated nor supported my business. She is not supportive of my achievements. Can I go ahead and marry her? I mean, I don't know if Doc can answer this. Should he go ahead and marry her? I think you already know this answer, Danielle.
Yeah, it is only one factor. There are other factors that you should be looking at. So this is somebody who doesn't support your business.
Right.
Is it like the person doesn't have interest in your kind of business, or the person doesn't have any interest in things about you? How about the other factors? How do the two of you communicate? How do the two of you, how are your interests? Apart from the business interests, how about other interests? Do you connect? How about your intimacy in terms of how the two of you, are able to click? Does it work? If these things are working, then let us find out why the person is not supporting your business. Yes. It could be that the person is not, you are selling bags. The person is not a fan of bags. Or you are selling, whatever, electronics. The person is not somebody who is keen on electronics. And so it will seem as though the person is not really interested in you. But no, it is probably the type of business that you are doing that the person is not in. So before you can answer this question, we should be looking at all other factors put together. But if it is just this factor, the question then that I'll ask you would be, how much do you value a partner having interest in your business? To what extent do you rank that aspect in a partner? If it is high, then you know your answer. It means that the person is not compatible with you. But okay, how much do you, well, it doesn't matter. After all, if other things are okay, I am fine. Then that means you can go ahead if it is only the business. So your question cannot have a direct answer. Let's consider all these factors. Thank
Daniel,
you.
make sure you use this advantage and reach out to the doc. His information is definitely in the chat. Miss Fufu responded to your question. That's hard, but if the situation is temporary, you can adjust until under one roof. So Miss Fufu, thank you so much for your contribution. At this time, again, let me remind you there are two platforms that we have going on WhatsApp. We have the HRETV family, his royal family platform, where you will be able to give your input as far as topics to be discussed on the show. For next week's topic, we will be talking about breaking generational money shortage, investing in your kids. On May 12, 2025, that would be the topic. We'll have a seasoned financial advisor sharing valuable insight with us. Invite a friend or loved one to join us for this informative information session. Looking forward to seeing you all next week again. Topic will be breaking generational money shortage, investing in your kids' future. So make sure you tune in on May 12th. At this point, Doc, oh my goodness, I have enjoyed this topic so much. I am definitely sure we are going to do another rain check for the same topic. We'll talk about choosing the right partner. We'll bring a lot of these youth who are getting married and not really, dissecting what it really means to be in a union, what they should be looking for, what they should be talking about before they even start going into this marriage institution. Because a lot of these so-called ministries are not really counseling the youth. And then 5 years from now, 3 years from now, the marriage is no longer. So definitely next time, after next week, we'll definitely reach out and figure out how to really prepare our youth into a better union. Rashawn said, I love this session, y'all. Was great. Thank you. Thank you so much once again for tuning in. At this point, I'll definitely hand it over to our directors so they can give you our gratitude. So Dr. A-Class, Dr. Danielle, if you are available, please kindly chime in.
Before that, I don't know whether people have got questions that they want to ask, and if you can give them the chance for that. Unless maybe, Doc, your time is up and you want to leave us. If not, I think that if you can spare some minutes, that would be bad.
That's fine. It's midnight. I mean, it's 2 minutes to midnight. I asked permission from my wife to be with you.
The partnership, I see that. You see, you are wonderful.
right.
I love that.
Okay.
I
So,
mean, if the microphones are open, a class, I think I've asked periodically if someone has any questions, concerns. People are a bit shy, so they are rather posting their questions. But definitely, the microphone is open to anyone who wants to ask a question. Thank you so much, Doc, for extending your time with us. Thank you to your madam for also giving us permission to go on with this conversation. So, a class, go ahead and chime in, please, and
all
thank
right. So, Doc, before you take leave, and we would like to say thank you very much, and we really appreciate your time. Yeah, I mean, shop, and it's not everybody that will get time for his fellow brothers and stuff, but you've taken time out of, as you said, he asked permission from my wife. So at this time, maybe it would have been a good time doing the do and stuff here and there. But you created it for the lovely people of TapTap and others to be here and share your thoughts and answer questions as you've already posed it, And to say thank you very, very much. That's a part of it that interested me so much, the spicy aspect of it. And once upon a time, if you permit me before you leave, 2 minutes. Once upon a time, I was asked this question by a young lady who is around 32. She's giving birth to in crowd 4. And I'll be say, uncle, me can be trained plan and son me worry. Then there was an elderly man by myself, when you, then the woman man started, gentlemen, casa no fast. I'm saying, that man in casa, then the lady started, not kind, I'm so not knowing the background or worries is used to be another girl, a godmother, a boyfriend. Yes. But the godmother told the lady, say, when I'm wrong. So I once told her, son, there's still room to do that. In practice, it is allowed, but it depends whom and in the better plan. So when I started it, implantation is allowed. Then a man came in again, now say more a bit aggressive. Then I tell you, no, not the two was. But at the end of the day, what is all about implantation? So if one warrior, I will urge everyone here, as you really said, the bathroom, the kitchen, the steps, as you used to na kawo pese kawo trace and plano. I when yana wawari say take time out for man come on and no more.
And do it with your
And
man.
do it. So by the time of every my babano, the doorway, the staircase, everything that is for you. Oh my men or papa no Adrian said and crano my bromo because they want to build their granny. But who him their will repair. And after going through with her, no, it was like a burden release of her head. So I think sometimes we need to be more of the practical aspect and put things into perspective and lay as it is. And I think it will help. Sometimes what didn't help some of these young people, yeah, they're theory. And of a transfer say or come, no say 1 + 1, 2 no more. Meaning then now the waka. They're not beautiful for. So, but I will say thank you very much for your time. I will say God bless you and so all lovely people in the chat room. I think this is one of the sessions whereby I said questions and things have been posted a lot in the chat room, and the chat room have been very engaging. I will say thank you very much. And some people said,
All right. Thank you
maybe
for
part two
having me. I
will
really
come.
appreciate my time with you. I thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much. God bless you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Doc. God bless you again. We will definitely be in touch for sure. Have a wonderful night. All right, at this time, we thank you so much for tuning in today on TapTap Send HRE TV. From Jiwa. At this time, we'll take a quick break from our sponsors, TapTap Send. Stay put if you were able to really go along with us throughout this program. Stay put. The next session is all about TapTap Send. We'll be able to answer any questions you have regarding the TapTap Send app. Once again, let's take a quick break from our sponsors. Thank you.
TapTap Send. Oh, I was my baby, you're from Calabos. the only boss. With oneness, baby, I will be everywhere I day and everywhere they go. TapTap Send got me covered. Therefore, if you need to send money or transfer money from Europe, from Canada, from USA, from UK, any part in Europe, you can send it through TapTap Send. And guess what? Oceania, they will receive it right here in Ghana and many countries across Africa. So what are you waiting for? Download TapTap Send now on Google Play Store or App Store. When you download, it's so easy to use. Tell your families, tell your loved ones to download TapTap Send. Okay? But also, when I receive my money, the other tell the world the channel, like my view, you know, hey, you crazy.
Download TapTap Send now.